Danielle, good to see you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's interesting. The movie's been out for since last week, so it's not a big spoiler, but you know, you might or might not have a few different looks in this movie. So I'm wondering, like, did that feel like stepping into different characters, or is that just kind of more of kind of like a hair and makeup kind of transformation, so to speak?
Well, every time you see me in a different look, it's usually like in a photograph that's being referenced. So it really was just like a hair and makeup change. But also I think it just shows that this character is she's so spooky and mysterious and also just kind of like operates and runs by herself. And I think I think the whole, disguise thing it's very like spy-esque, but I think in her case, it's even freakier because you don't quite know whether or not she's a sociopath.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my next question is, I think about this because I'm also a filmmaker. I've made some films with people you've made films with. You made Power Within with Bo and John, who I'm collaborating with on some things too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? Because there's a lot of scenes in this film with your character that we see for like 2-3 minutes on screen, right? But that might have taken like 2 or 3 days to do that scene, right? So like when that happens, when those big scenes happen, do they feel like their own mini movie, or they feel like a part of the project overall?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, like that introductory scene, with J.K. Simmons, I think we shot that entire thing over the course of like maybe 4 nights. So I guess a scene or a setup does feel like a movie. I mean, I know that end sequence with John and Ben, I mean, they shot that what felt like forever. So it does feel like sort of mini movies in a movie.
100%. It's interesting, right? Because, there's this kind of mode of your character being an assassin and having a goal and everything. And then there's a little bit of like a wait a second, self-reflection, figuring things out and everything. And I'm wondering, from that perspective, playing these lost characters, figuring things out, taking it day by day, is it more fun or more challenging to play those characters? Because from the viewer perspective, right, they don't know they're lost, which I find is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's super fun. I mean, I think playing a villain is super fun. I think it's really liberating because it's just acting. But if you're taking it really seriously, you kind of get to depart from things that make you a warm, empathetic person, and there are a lot of scary people in the world nowadays, right? And so there's a lot to pull from, a lot of influences. But I think it's fun I think it was fun just playing a scary villain. It also just shows that it kind of doesn't matter what you look like. That's kind of an energy that comes from within. So I don't know, it's super fun for me.
Doesn't matter what you look like. You look like 5 different people in this movie. Absolutely. I do want to ask the perfect segue for my next question, because it's all storytelling at the end of the day. But like, how separate are past projects and past worlds compared to something like The Accountant 2? Do mindsets, preparations from Jurassic World or Cowboy Bebop come into play here, or are they kind of completely separate once you wrap them?
No, I'd say they're pretty separate, but the only other film I would say is like comparable to this. Again, this one was like so different for so many reasons, but I think as far as just like filmmaker vibe was probably Plane, that I did with Gerard Butler. But this film was so different. I mean, one, because it's an action movie that's also really, really funny and also has a heart, and there's an orange cat in it. So I don't know. This one felt really like kind of like once in a lifetime sort of a project.
Absolutely. And last question. So much happens before you go to camera on The Accountant 2. You're having a lot of those discussions and conversations. So from an acting storyteller perspective, Danielle, you look at it as 2 journeys, before filming and after filming. Or does it feel like one big journey with multiple steps in between? I'm curious about that.
I think it feels like one big journey. I mean, I think we shot this for I think about 3 months, and it just comes in sort of like it comes in phases. I mean, especially once you get the part, and then also Gavin O'Connor gave me something I will take away from this movie that I'll remember for forever. Was Gavin let me do what I wanted. So I asked for the character to be blonde. I've never been blonde in a movie before, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was so not expecting him to just be so easy peasy about it, Usually department heads, the movie, they already know what you're going to look like, and a lot of times you don't really get a say. So it was cool to have so much autonomy and decision making in a very sort of high level project. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely. I can't wait for people to check out The Accountant 2, now in theaters. Danielle, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.